Okay, this is a long question, but it's a great question. What is sin? Now, I have discussed this on other videos, but I think putting it here as a singular video will make it easier. What is sin? This is what his entire message says. What is sin? Some define it as a built-in moral flaw. I once saw it defined in the Old Greek as to miss the mark, which sounds more like being imperfect or prone to error. That kind of fits better for me. Perhaps sin refers to the state of not being aware of our always connection to God, who is us, in us, and all around us. Perhaps our being in the land of Nod, Genesis 4:16, is forgetfulness of the nature. Maybe like James 1:23-24 about looking in the glass, we turned away and forgot what manner of being we are. Do you in regressions have a sense of what sin meant to those in that time? Did Jeshua, or he says Jesus, have a concept of sin? Perhaps the original meaning differs from what mainstream churches want us to believe. How does the concept of sin fit in with Jesus' message of love? You have spoken about how people in the time of Jesus had different views than we may understand. Maybe clarifying this might help us to understand them better. This is a great one. And one of the things that I liked that you did quote was the Old Greek, to miss the mark. To miss the mark. Okay, so that's the Old Greek. Now, you have to understand the first translations of the New Testament were in Greek. They weren't in Aramaic. They were the first translations were in Greek, and so when you look back at the Septuagint, which is the oldest Greek translation we have right now, there's a lot of things like that that are kind of glossed over. But the oldest translation, to miss the mark. You have to take that statement and say, what is the mark? The mark is love. The mark is love, right? To miss that mark means we fall into our fear. We fall into our anxieties. We fall into doubt. We lose our faith. We miss the mark because we're not doing 100% loving things. What is sin? The word sin basically means transgression from God. And when you look at what is a transgression from God? Well, if God is love, a transgression from God is to fall into our fears and our anxieties and then not do the loving thing. So missing the mark absolutely is a perfect description of sin. Now, later on, when the churches got involved and the powers that be got involved, sin became the fear-based thing that they used to control the masses. You have sinned. You need to come pay. Confess and pay penance and they took their money even for that. The people bought their sins away back in the ancient times, right? But sin itself is just missing the mark. There is no repercussions of that except for the idea of sowing and reaping. If you do something that misses the mark, that is harmful, you will reap the results of that, because that's what karma is. Even you'll get what you give. And in the word karma, they talk about, people have a big belief about karma from past lives and all this stuff, and I don't believe that's what the original intention of karma was. I believe in karma was what sow and reap. What you sow, you reap. So when I look at sin in general, our job is to come into this world and experience our fears. But when we get lost in our fears is when we start to do things that are really seriously missing the mark. And sometimes we miss the mark completely, like we're shooting the opposite direction. And sometimes we're missing the mark only by an nth degree, right? And it comes down to the idea that you need to look at the way you're living your life and what you're expressing in the world as, am I loving, or is my reaction fear-based? I had a very good friend of mine the other day who called me up, and he's like, I want to talk to you about something. And I'm very blessed that I have such great friends who, when they have a moment they want to discuss something, they just call me, and I get to have these wonderful conversations. And he said he was driving down the road, and this beat up old car drove by, and it had written on the window, "Stop police brutality." And my friend called me because he was distressed. And I said, "Why are you distressed?" He said, "Well, when I saw the car, I instantly judged him as a deadbeat criminal because it was a beat up old car." He says, "But I don't know that. I judged him. I stereotyped him by his car. And I looked at him as his car. And I looked at him as someone who's obviously doing the wrong thing. But, he may have been profiled and may not be a criminal at all. It might just be someone who's down on their luck, someone who's struggling in life. And when I saw that thing on the back of his car, I instantly judged him." That's just what my friend is telling me. And I'm like, that is such an astute experience. I said, Tim, his name is Tim. I said, you've known me since my entire life. How many times have you seen me use drugs? He said, "Never." I said, "That's right. I have never used a drug in my life. Not once." And I said, "I have been pulled over, pinned on the side of my car, had guns pulled on me because I was driving a beat up van because I was doing Renaissance festivals at the time. I had long hair and a beard. And they literally got me out of the van. I stepped out of the van. I was bigger than the cop. He pulled his gun on me, had me place my hands on the side of my van. They stripped my van, found no drugs, and then said, 'I think your taillight was blinking. You need to get that fixed.' There was nothing wrong with my taillight. They profiled me. And then another time driving up from Georgia, I got pulled over because I was pulling an Airstream travel trailer. And I had an Airstream travel trailer and a beat up van still, and was driving north from the south. And they passed by me, saw my long hair and my beard, and pulled me over. And they stripped my van and my Airstream travel trailer on the side of the road. And then they said, "All right, you're clean." And they left. And I had to reload all my stuff back into my two vehicles, including my dog at the time. So I've never done a drug in my life, and I was profiled, right? So he contacted me out of the blue because of the concept that I have done something wrong, that I was judged, and I was being judged for that concept. We in our life, we judge people constantly. We look at people and we look at them for the aspect of who they are. People are judged racially, sexually, religiously. People of different faiths are judged. I've traveled through many Muslim countries in my time. I literally have been in more Muslim countries than most people ever will see. And I have found loving, caring people in every trip I took. What I did see was an older time. They were definitely living a different time frame than we do in America. But I think that in some ways, they're probably more connected to the earth than we were, because we're very much a materialistic society, right? So I wanted to drop into that because the message of love. Are you loving? Are you caring? Are you missing the mark? Because if you're missing the mark because of your fears, your anxieties, your judgments, your past subconscious beliefs, are you missing the mark and not living loving, not giving the love that is needed to be given in this world? Because that's a long way to go to tell this story. What is sin? Sin is missing the mark. Sin is dropping into your fears without any reason. Without any reason. You've chosen to live fearfully. So what is sin? Sin is your fear run amok. And when you eradicate your fear, you reach enlightenment. That's what Buddha said. The secret to enlightenment is the eradication of fear. And lo, that I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil, for thou art with me. These are statements of lack of fear. These are statements of lack of sin. These are statements of loving and caring. And if we can step into that role of loving and caring and release our fears, then there is no sin. There is no missing the mark. There's nothing outside of the target when you live fully loving. And you can do it. We all can do it. We all have the ability to do it. It's a matter of stepping into the Creator. Greater works than I have done, you will do. You are the children of God. I am the Son of God. It's the same thing. It only depends on whether you declare it or not. You are the children of God. I am the Son of God. I believe I am one with God. Do you? If you believe you're one with God, then your job then is to be the love of God. Be loving, be caring, and set your sin aside. Set your sin outside of yourself. Step into a different experience, and you will experience a loving, caring life here on earth. So I hope that answers your questions. Joshua, his belief on sin was God is love, and we are love, and to sin just means not being loving in his mind. So that's my thought on that. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. See ya. Bye. Hey guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure you go down below it right now and join in the comments section. Add a comment. Comment on someone else's. Let's get this community talking about these topics, and let's get this information out there. Also, if you really like this or you really resonate with some of the things that I'm saying on this channel, make sure you like, subscribe, and share, because this information is not about us holding it to ourselves. It's about spreading it out so we can change the perspective of the world, so people can find their own truths, so we can create a more loving world. So don't forget, like, subscribe, share, and comment. Let's get this community really growing. And that'd be great. And thank you for watching, and thank you for all your support of me. It has been absolutely wonderful. Thank you.